Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with gratitude for the ability to gather here, for all that you have given us, and for all that you have protected us from. I offer prayers for all of our elected leaders, from the smallest communities to the highest offices in our country and in our world. I pray they will allow themselves to be governed by you through your wisdom and your justice. I pray that you will guide our decisions so that we may best serve our community and its people. I ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Here.
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 Present.
Here.
Here.
All aldermen are present. Oath of office for the new fire department captain, Nick Zepin, if you'd come forward.
You solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of fire department captain according to the best of your ability.
I do. Thank you.
Need a motion to approve John and vote. Motion Bryant, second. Alderman Skoltedi. Roll call.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll? Jim Mullins?
Yes.
Jessica Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes. Minutes of the regular meeting held January 4th, 2022. Minutes of the Emergency Services Committee meeting held January 6th, 2022. Minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held January 6th, 2022. Minutes of the Lake and Airport Committee meeting held January 13th, 2022. And minutes of the Water Environmental Committee meeting held January 13th, 2022. Minutes, motion to approve the minutes? Alderman Bryant, second. Alderman Dorchenez, questions or comments? Roll call.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Mullins?
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Planning Commission recommendations. Mr. Spencer?
Mayor, we had a informative presentation from the solar company that's wanting to do this, but we couldn't act on anything because the proper permits and papers weren't prepared. So we're going to be back in maybe a couple weeks.
All right, thank you, sir. Motion to approve the mayor's appointment of Traci Bentley to Office of Human Resource Manager at an annual salary of $60,000, $79.50.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Skoltedi, questions or comments?
Comment that I'm gonna make about it, we need to get this train wreck back on track and get the city back to where it needs to be. Do I like that amount of money? No. But we've got to start getting this city to where it needs to start functioning like it's supposed to. And for that reason, I'm going to support this.
Any other comment? Alderman Driscoll?
As I've discussed with others, that I would love to have Traci do this job. I've always had my support for her, and I know she would do a fantastic job. My problem is with the salary amount, and that this should have been something that's gone through committee, personnel committee. That's the proper protocol that we tend to have the issues shoved into the full city meeting instead of having it go through our committee meeting. So I object to that because it needs to go through the committee. I would suggest that we definitely appoint Traci to the position, and that we would have her at the position at the pay rate that it was originally, as the last person had, and that we would take this back to committee to discuss salary as far as if it was to be increased, et cetera, that's where it belongs.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I negotiated the pay with Traci. She let me to know that she would not accept anything less. I brought up the pay at the last council meeting in closed session. There was nobody that argued that. I said it would be 130%, which the ordinance says. It's $60,000 and $79. The previous one, with the increase that the council voted a couple months ago, her salary would have been $51,299, and this salary is $8,780 more. I think Traci brings a wealth of experience to this job, knows the city backwards, frontwards, knows everybody involved with it. It has a lot to do with who she works with. She's able to work with everyone, and I recommend that we do approve this at this salary. So have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
Steve Dorsones.
Oh.
Kathy Driscoll.
No.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
No.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-2 with one person voting present. Oath of office for Traci Bentley. If she'd stand forward.
Tracy, do you want to wait till you?
Well, yeah, I didn't have any more family
You
go.
want to get your family here? Okay.
Because I was,
We can do it at the next meeting.
Right, the appointment will be good as of in the morning, tonight, so we'll take over that duty tomorrow, we'll swear you in at the next meeting, is that right?
Well, I think, what I would suggest you swear in this evening and then have a new swearing with your family here. But she officially can't serve until she's been sworn in.
Okay, well, Julie.
what, do you want to hold my Bible?
Please.
Hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Human Resource Manager according to the best of your ability?
I will. You're welcome. Thank you. If we can keep it like that.
Motion to bid and or advertise the deputy clerk position. Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Bryant. Questions or comment? Roll call.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to approve the revisions to the City of Taylorville COVID-19 policy and procedures for employees and managers. Motion.
I would like to see that we table this so it goes back to where we can discuss this a little better, if at all possible.
All right.
I second that.
Motion to the table by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Driscoll. Roll call.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0 to table.
May I
Motion
just
to,
comment, Mr. Bud, just so you know, the labor attorney is the one that recommended this particular form in compliance with the recent law.
I know that.
Okay.
I read it. I just,
motion to approve the purchase of second K-9 unit at a cost not to exceed $16,500 to include the cost of K-9 training and equipment with funds to come from the cannabis tax. So moved. Motion by Alderman Skoltedi.
Second.
Second by Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Question I had,
Yeah.
looking at your minutes of January 6th, your emergency minutes, It looked like there was a notation, there was some doubt whether or not the cannabis tax could be used for this particular purchase. Has that been answered?
I believe Officer, or Chief Wheeler
Chief
sent
Wheeler
an email, he sent an email to people saying.
He said it could be.
Yeah,
Chief
Did he? Okay.
Miller did, yes.
yeah,
I just,
he called INL on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have the email in
All
Okay.
right. Roll call?
Driscoll Teddy,
there. Yes.
Jeremy Wilson,
Yes.
Doug Brown,
Yes.
Megan Bryant,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
No,
Steve Dorsones,
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll,
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1. City Attorney update.
you will be receiving from me an attorney-client communication concerning the status of upcoming or pending litigation against the city. Also, you should have received the email today that you received from Attorney Borland in response to my inquiries about completing the settlement of that Hoffman suit. So, is there any questions about those emails that you got?
is that going to be covered under, One Beacon?
I assume so.
I believe they were our
Because
insurance
wasn't
carrier
there-
back then,
Even
and
carrier
when the
at that
accident
time?
happened.
Right.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Mayoral update. It's been a busy week. Today we was in court with Jamal, Rocky and I, and Chief Wheeler, and Taylorville, and Deputy Chief Childers. Interesting afternoon. Tomorrow we will have a pre-construction meeting with the contractors and our engineers on the East Main project. This project was approved over 18 months ago, and estimated starting date is March 1st. Friday, I have a meeting with the city of Pana and our engineers about the bike trail and the ITEP grant, which was approved in 2016. Pana is going to decide whether we're going to go forward with that and pay so much money or try to seek an ITEP grant in 2022. I met with Invenergy about the two solar projects, which will be beneficial to our county, but also very, very beneficial to our school district. Both these solar projects are located out by Toby and in the Midland area. I will keep you updated on all the new projects that are going on. That's all I have. Thank you. Lakin Airport, motion to recommend to the city council to approve a request to advertise for the airport consultant. Oh, sorry, Mr. Bud. I read it off.
The motion came out to recommend the city council approve the request for qualification for airport consultant position. Make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Olive, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Oh, we got
So we need a roll call. We can roll call. We'll roll call. Excuse me. We
I
can roll
think
call.
that took us all by.
Jeremy Wilson,
Yes.
Doug Brown,
Yes.
Megan Bryant,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yeah.
Steve Dorsones,
No.
Kathy Driscoll,
Aye. Yes.
Jim Olive,
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
No.
Motion carries 6-2. Next, motion to approve and or ratify payment of bills of $376,721.03. Motion by Alderman Skoltedi, second.
Okay.
Alderman Bud, questions or comments? Roll call?
Doug Brown,
Yes.
Megan Bryant,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Dorsones, Kathy Driscoll, Jim Olive,
Yes.
Driscoll Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. First subparagraph G of 5 ILCS, this portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person wishing to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. The Illinois Open Meeting Act 5 ILCS 120/1 mandates no action shall be taken on subject matters not listed on the agenda, but the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the subject matter to a future council and or committee meeting. If anyone wishes to address the council, please provide your name and address, limit your comments or presentation to 3 minutes, and avoid repetitious comments. Anyone else would like to speak to the council? Seeing none, any council members like to speak about anything?
No.
Okay. Motion to go into closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C1 and C3 to discuss the following subject matters. the performance, employment, and/or resignation of the city treasurer, the appointment of a person to fill a vacancy of the office of city treasurer and duties of such office, and any persons to assist the city treasurer with their duties, the creation of the office of comptroller and the duties and compensation for this office, the appointment of a person to be comptroller, the performance, employment, dismissal, and or resignation and or any severance agreement concerning the previous human resource manager, and the appointment of a person to fill the office of deputy treasurer and the duties and compensation for such office, and any and all other subject matters relating to any of the said subject matters, and to include if present the following persons to be present during all or part of such closed session, namely the mayor, alderman, city attorney, city clerk, city treasurer, and such other person or persons the mayor may decide to announce during the city council meeting and or during such closed session. Motion to go into closed session. Alderman Bud, second. Second. Alderman Skoltedi, roll call.
Megan Bryant,
Present.
Larry Bud,
Here.
Steve Dorchenez,
No.
Kathy Driscoll,
Yes.
Jim Olive,
Yes.
Chris Skoltedi,
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson,
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1.
No?
Time.
To adjourn. It's 7:16.
Motion to adjourn, so moved.
Hold on, we're adjourning right now.
The non-bargaining pay increases, the minutes had no rates at all that came out, and it was very confusing.
It did have,
The minutes that I was given said percentages above working foreman, and I didn't have actual dollar
they
amounts.
had amounts, they had percentages, and then there was another motion made December 18th where they should all get an increase that was tied to the union increase, so they should have gotten, for instance, Mike Mann should have gotten 2% plus another 2%.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we had that.
what I had on there was, I was told it was between here and here above a working foreman's salary. And that's why I put that out there, because that's the working foreman's salary, that's the rate, the percentage above. So that's what the increase was, not what I was given. So when we calculated the rates, I calculated them incorrectly based on the information that I had. So next year, when you go into non-bargaining, or after you come out of personnel with performance evaluations or whatever, if you guys could just lock in actual dollar amounts instead of percentages above working for, I didn't.
The way I understood what come out of there, and I think we've talked about this, that all their salaries are either based on the sergeant, the captain, or the working foreman, or level, whatever. We decided to give them whatever their union got raised. And then we also, like, Chief Wheeler went from 110% of what the sergeant makes to 116%. We gave him a 6% evaluation raise, is the way I took it out of there. Mike Mann was currently making 121%. He would go to 123 because we gave him a 2%. Andy was at 115, we went him to 117. Tennant and Ortman were at 110, they went to 112. Because in the ordinance it says their pay should be between 110% and 130 or 40, whatever it is. Is that the way you guys thought we voted for, or that's the way I took it out?
At the time, all we were concerned about at the time was an increase based on their performance evaluation. We did not address at all, to my knowledge, the January 1st increase in the bargaining unit going up compared to what these guys were going to make. At that time, we were only concerned and focused on, for example, we were going to give Chief Wheeler Chief Wheeler approved a 6% raise for him over and above what he was making at that time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even address what was going to go on after January 1st.
Okay.
And for each and every other superintendent, etc.
So you're saying that we gave Chief Wheeler a 6% raise of what he was making,
Yes.
okay?
Correct.
And then later on in December, we voted that they would receive the 2% raise at the union, or, well, police was 3, fire was 1, and AFSCME was 2.
Be the same as what the union was getting.
Okay,
So-
but you guys see the difference right there? You're talking about he's getting 6% on his old rate, and then turn around and getting 1% or 3% or 2% on top of that. So
But it doesn't make sense
the
because we
dollar
couldn't do
amount
that
is
because
always different here.
the rate is based on what the foreman makes.
Right, for example, if Chief Wheeler was given we gave him a 6% increase over and above what he was making, so whatever that comes to, that was effective January 1st.
Right.
From what I recall.
Say he
So-
was making
So, hold on,
60,000.
hold on. So if it was a 6% raise effective January 1st, now, so whatever rate he's making on January 1st, his subordinates received an increase. So now if whatever he was making, I believe this is according to the ordinance, whatever he was making, if it was not at the minimum, whatever it is, 110%, if that was not it, then we had to raise him again in order to make him 110% over and above the next guy. And the same with Mr. Mann and all the superintendents.
Okay.
I believe that's the way the ordinance is written.
The ordinance reads for Chief Wheeler, he makes between 110 and 140% of what the sergeant makes.
Okay.
Okay? Wheeler was hired in at 110%. Okay? So last year, he got the 3% raise that the union got because he had to, because he would have been lower than the 110%.
That would have kept him 110%,
Okay.
right.
Well, if you're saying we gave him the 6% raise at his current salary, say his salary was 60,000, we gave him a 6% raise, 6360,
Mhm.
and the 60,000 was 110% of what the sergeant made, right? Because we were at 60. See what I'm saying? His salary was based on 110% of what the sergeant made. So the sergeant made 54,800, so another, or 54,700. So give him 5,300 as the 10%. That would be 60,000. So we raised him to 6360 with the 6% evaluation rate. Okay, that sergeant was making 54,700, got a 3% raise. He would go to say 50, well, be what, 20, be about $1,800.
Right.
So he would go to 56 something, 56.8. Well, Wheeler would have still been over the 10%.
Then we give him nothing.
Okay.
On January, then we give him nothing according to that.
See, and that's
According to
not
the
what
That's
your
not the way I
motion
thought
said.
we
No.
did.
That's not the way I thought we did.
Your
No.
motion that you all voted on was everybody got an increase on top of their evaluation raise based on the union increase. Type 2, that's what your motion said. So you can't really turn around and
No.
not give it to them unless you get rid of that motion
No.
and start all over.
No, and that's the way I understood it, because what had happened, Mike Mann was hired in at 115%, say. And so he wasn't eligible for that union raise because he was above the minimum. And so for a year, see, he didn't get a raise, where the other superintendents that were hired in at the minimum got the raise because they had to. So what I thought we did in session was say, hey, we're gonna give them raise their rates from 110 or 112, whatever it was, like Mike Mann went from 121 to 123 of what the foreman makes, giving him the 2% that the foreman got, plus his 2% evaluation rate.
So it's not plus 4%,
No,
it's 2%, and then an additional 2% on the 102%
Right.
at the new rate. So that's why I'm saying, it was just so difficult, and I happen to have been out during that, where I would have made you guys lock in what exactly it was, because it was very confusing. And then, as you can see, there's adjustments that have to be made to people's rates because their rates didn't come out right.
We voted to give Indogis Wheeler 6% evaluation rate. So that moved him to 116% of what the sergeant made. right?
At the old rate.
At the old rate. So the sergeant got a 3% raise. I'm saying, I thought we voted to give him that 3% raise, so we're giving him 116% of the new sergeant's rate. Is that the way you guys understood it? That's the way I understood
3%
it.
on top of the.
Shit, I'm lost altogether.
You
The
gave
way
them
I
a
understood
6%
it, and-
increase, and then it's 3% on top of that increase.
Right.
You're making it harder than it has to be.
Well, the way I
It
understood.
is nothing tied to what the old percentages were, because you threw all those out the window when you gave them an evaluation raise, and then you gave them a raise on top of the union pay.
Yeah.
My understanding was that we were giving them performance increases based on their evaluations.
Correct.
Forget the 110%, whatever it is. So, for example, Mr. Wheeler again, we gave him 6% based on his superior evaluation. Over and above, 6% over and above what he was making whenever we gave him the evaluation. And then what I understood was that rate was not gonna take effect until January 1st, okay? That rate was gonna take effect January 1st. So, whatever that rate is, now he's got a sergeant that's getting a raise on the same January 1st. So now the sergeant gets a raise by contract. So now whatever that sergeant's rate is, if my understanding is, according to the ordinance, is if that rate that the sergeant gets now creeps into Mr. Wheeler's salary, that it is not whatever it's supposed to be, 110% is the minimum that the chief of police makes over and above the sergeant. If that's not, if that doesn't meet that, then Wheeler's going to get another raise on top of that to keep it the 110%, and then be the same with all of the superintendents. That was my understanding how the ordinance is written.
But we voted December 18th to give all the superintendents their union raises, with no discussion whether they were at above or the minimum. And so that's why, and that was voted, I believe it was voted 8-0.
Well, my understanding on that was that, and I may have been 100% incorrect, but my understanding on that was that vote was to say, if any of these superintendents now, as of January 1st, are not over the 110% of what their next subordinate makes, then we need to increase them to make it so it does reach the 110%. That was my understanding, and I may be totally wrong. I didn't think we changed any ordinance. We would have had to change an ordinance in order to do that, I believe. In order to not do that.
I thought what they were getting, what the union was getting, on top of their salary.
Yeah, that's,
Right.
that's what Michael was due to get 2% from the union in January 1st, and then he should have got 2% more in January 1st.
Right, he should have went from 121 to 123.
I didn't think we were worried about the percentages, because we were going up above the minimum. Right?
Well, I mean, I'm asking you, I thought that's what we did, because I can remember writing that Wheeler would go to 116%, Aderman would go to 116, Vince would go to 109,
And that's what that sheet shows
that's what
you.
that sheet said. And Tennant, Norton would go to 112, Andy, I think, would go to 117, and Mike would go to 123. And Spiegel, he would get the union raise, but he wouldn't get an evaluation raise because he didn't want it. Is that's the way we explained it yesterday. Is everybody, I mean, do we need to go back and redo stuff, or do we need to go forward? And what it was, AFSCME had a 2% raise, the police had a 3%, the fire department just had 1% this year. Now next year it's fire department 2, police 0, and AFSCME 2. Yeah.
We'll do our best to make it more clear for you.
Thank you. And then I would ask one person and they tell you one thing, and then the other person would tell you another thing, but bottom line is now those all have to be adjusted, all the non-bargaining, because there was a lot of confusion as to what it actually meant. So just requesting that next time it be clear.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No, bro.
What?
So the chief got a 9% raise?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I got out of that.
He's at 109% above. He didn't get a
116%.
He didn't get a 9%, right?
Yeah.
He
You got 6 and 3.
16%.
That's what I thought you just said.
6 and 3 is 9. 6 for
Well,
his evaluation,
not-
3 from
You got
the
6?
union.
Here we go.
See, we
This
don't
is
worry
first
over
on
cutting the
first.
water
No.
again.
I thought I heard a 3% on top of the
You did.
106%, so.
Well, here,
After you give me my 6% raise.
you got a calculator.
It should have been, he was making 110%, it should have been 116.
Right, you got
So
a
it
raise
should have went up,
116.
his pay at 110% should have went up
6%.
3%. He should have got a 3% raise. Take away the 110%, forget about that. If he was making $60,000 a year, January 1st, the sergeants went up 3%. His should automatically went up 3%. And then he should have got 6% on top of that.
That's what
See, I don't think that's correct.
But that's what we
the
voted.
reason.
That's what you voted.
That's what we voted.
Well, I guess my misunderstanding is that I thought that those percentages were put in there in the ordinance to keep those superintendents at a minimum of 110% over and above what their next subordinate was making. So if we, and like I said, the performance evaluation raise is something totally different. So if they got 6% raise for the performance evaluation raise, and then come January 1st, their next subordinate got a raise, their next close subordinate got a raise, and it did not take them within that 110% base, then the chief would not get another raise. That's why I thought that the percentages were written into that ordinance originally. It's just, that's my interpretation, it may be wrong.
I think,
Give them all 10 grand extra a year.
I think most of them interpreted it the way that they're doing it now. So,
We'll take it out of our,
Rocky's
we'll take it out of our legal fee budget.
Yep.
The labor attorney. He's trying to-
Yeah, dumb COVID stuff.
And I don't
he
even
wrote.
like what he
He
read.
needs to pay us.
all right, so, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second, Alderman Skoltedi. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?